Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show, sponsored by HM Company at DrainTroughs.com. Today, we have a couple of fantastic guests with us, Craig Taylor and Michelle C. from Sacramento, California, co-founders of Monster Laundry. They have a lot to share about their laundromat journey and a lot of nuggets to share about what they've learned along the way.
Yeah, I got to tell you, these are the kind of people that we love working with, Carla. Craig and Michelle, they are no nonsense. They get right down to business. They have taken a zombie mat, I think it's fair to say, and turned it into one of the finer 2,000 square foot laundromats in the country. They've rebranded, created professional branding, launched pickup and delivery. They have an amazing drop-off laundry service. They've completely renovated this entire store in a very short period of time and turned it into one of the top laundromats in the industry. As you mentioned, Carla, they've increased their revenue by over 300% in just 2 years from when they acquired it to where it is today. And the sky's the limit, so I don't see any end in sight. But you're going to find out in this episode, they're doing some really cool things. So we're excited to bring this episode to you. We hope it'll bring you a lot of value. And if nothing else, sit back, relax, and check out a couple of golden nuggets. Hopefully you'll be able to get some value from this. Let's jump right into the episode.
I'm the guy that wants it now. I want to be a winner immediately, but this process has not been a winner immediately. It's a slow climb.
We wanted this laundry center to be the Nordstrom of all laundry centers.
We've increased revenue by 3 times. The mission of our laundry is to help people.
All right, so Craig and Michelle, welcome back to the show. If he's looking a little familiar, you may notice Craig was with us on the Dinah interview at the Clean Show. And this is his better half, Michelle, his COO, I think is her title, right? Chief Operating Officer. So they're joining us today to more about their laundromat journey. And it's been a heck of a ride, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, certainly has. It was almost 2 years ago, right around now, I found Dave as a person that would coach me through the building of a laundry. And I was looking at a significant investment, and I needed somebody by my side to kind of say, yes, no, this makes sense. This is how you need to do things. And so, Dave, I reached out to you, I think just via email, and you said, hey, fast, grab a call with me. And we did that, and we were off to the races.
Yeah, if I remember, you were, just to give everybody a little backstory, so Craig acquired the store, or was in the process of acquiring the store. I think you were like roughly a month or 6 weeks out from where you hoped to be a closing. And I kind of got dropped right in the middle of it. And I was like, all right, let's take a quick overview of this before you close. Let's make sure you're not overpaying and all these different things. You had already done a ton of work. So I got dropped right into the middle of it. And then we were to help you even more once you closed, obviously. But Craig, could you do me a favor? When we first met, you were kind of, if I misspeak, let me know. This is just my observation. When you first reached out to us, you were kind of scrambling, right? You knew you had kind of one on the hook, so to speak. You were very excited, but you were also pretty intimidated and kind of nervous, which any newbie would be, to getting ready to make this big of a decision. Can you talk about like a little bit of the work that you had done leading up to when you found out about us and before we actually dove into the project and things like that, of a lot of the knowledge and experience that you had gained and even what you had done to find this location and things like that, just to kind of set the record?
Yeah, there's a lot that went into that. Michelle and I did that whole job together, and we call ourselves co-founders of Monster Laundry. I did a lot of legwork trying to find locations. I had worked with 2 different companies in the laundry space before Dave, you and I worked together. The first one really encouraged me to go out and look at every laundry in the region.
Great.
And I diligently did that. I drove, and you can't find them on phone books. And so I just drove from all the streets of Sacramento. And I said, oh, there's one. I'd pull over, I'd walk into it, and I would give it a little rating. And I'd say, is this something I want? What's it? And that was a whole process. And that led me to finding this location. The other company we worked with was a franchise. And it looked at, actually buying into a franchise and using their techniques and their style and all of the infrastructure they built to place a store. And Michelle and I, at the end of the franchise discussion, we wanted to do our own thing, make our own brand, have more of a thumbprint on the store. So we decided not to go with the franchise. And the searching led us to find this store, this location. It seemed like a good deal, but I had no idea if it was or not. That was
Mhm.
one of the first questions I asked Dave. And then it overall turned out to be pretty darn good. And it wasn't such a concern. When we went through the financials, Dave was able to say, well, you're not spending a ton of money. So even if you made a mistake, it's only this much, and so
On the acquisition, yeah.
yeah, that's right. So there was a lot that went into actually getting to the point where we were going to execute on the store, and the actual mechanics of execution involved attorneys, CPA, a coach through Dave, and then it was like game on, and a distributor. The
Mhm.
distributor was the key piece. We are very blessed to have an amazing distributor here in this region that was able to also set me up with a person that would build out the store. And those relationships became very key in the first 6 months of the build out.
Yeah, for sure. So you seem to speak pretty highly of your distributor. Would you like to give him a shout out? We like to do that for people that are doing good things.
Will
Yes.
Klein from Western States Design.
Okay.
I
That's
love how you mentioned actually going and driving the
Yeah.
streets and visiting all the different laundromats because I think a lot of people, and we just kind of talked about this in our last due diligence episode or whatever, but I think a lot of people want to just be able to look online. And the truth is, there's a lot of laundromats out there that don't even have an online presence to look at.
Yep.
And so you miss out on opportunities. You also might miss out on some potential competitors. And I think too, driving around also gives you a feel for not just what you can see online, but walking in and getting the feel of that store, like truly feeling how clean it is. What's the customer service like? Actually looking at, what's the road visibility look like and all those things that you really can't get from online. So I think that's a key point for people out there looking for new locations or first locations, actually taking the time to visit them. I think that's huge.
Yeah, our buddy Jordan always tells people on his podcast, he's like, my philosophy is if you can do it in your underwear from your couch, anyone else can do it too. And if you have to actually get dressed and leave your store and drive around and do laundry in different facilities and things like that, you're separating yourself from everyone else in your community that is potentially looking at a laundromat. And then obviously being able to walk in the facilities is very different than just calling or sending a letter and being able to actually talk to an employee, leave your card, potentially talk to the owner. That's some of the boots on the ground work that, quite frankly, isn't sexy, isn't a lot of fun. I don't think most people enjoy, but it definitely separates people as far as the opportunities that are out there and things like that. As Carla mentioned, you can Google laundromats in Sacramento and yeah, half of them will probably come up on there, but that also means roughly half of them probably don't even have a Google business profile, don't even have a website, which means digitally they don't exist, which means if you don't drive around and physically see them with your own eyes and ears, you're not even going to know those are available. I'm curious, do you remember of roughly how many you visited, driving around?
I usually categorize them as takeover candidate or not. So most
Okay.
nots I can keep track of. There's at least
Yeah.
30, easily
Wow.
30 in the list that I can think
Yeah.
of. The key point, what you just said, Dave, they don't put themselves online. They
Yeah.
don't take the time to go into Yelp or Google just to say, I'm a laundromat here. So even if
Mm-hmm.
you
Mhm.
search, say laundromats near me, it
Yep.
won't even come up.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so it really takes driving around and looking at the shopping centers to see
I
if
mean,
there's.
sometimes it's not even just a laundry mat itself. Sometimes it's
Uh-huh.
empty, and then we would pull in and see if it's gray space, if it's or they actually have like old laundry equipment in there, which
Uh-huh.
we found a couple, and then
Like an abandoned laundromat, you mean?
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
And we did find
we found a
at
couple.
least two abandoned laundromats. One that tried to make a deal with, and then it didn't work out. Negotiating the lease with the landlord is a piece of this whole puzzle, a
Mhm.
difficult piece to some extent.
But we were able to
Mhm.
talk to like the neighboring business too, like convenience stores and stuff, and just kind of
Sure.
figure out what happened and why did they close and is this a good location? I think that
Mhm.
was one that was just not a good location because he says there was a lot of like homeless people like hanging out there and he couldn't even get rid of them. So
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm curious, do you remember roughly how long that journey took you from, let's go back to before
When
you
you
even ever
decided, "I
wanted to
want a
own a laundromat?
laundromat."
Like you first decided, I think this is something I want to do
Well,
until you
it
found this location. How long did
June,
that journey take you? Roughly,
I'd
just
say
roughly.
June
so
of
about a year,
2023. And so it was a 6 month until we purchased January 2024.
Okay.
And I had found this location maybe 4 months after the start of that. And that was,
So
I mean,
the
a lot of time spent.
so the journey from closing an acquisition on this location from when you started the process was roughly 6 months?
Yeah.
that about right?
And that
Okay.
was getting the guts to say we're going to do this
Yeah.
also.
Mhm.
How much time do you think you spent a week on this process for those 6 months?
Yeah, I was working part-time, so I had extra time just around.
Sure.
So,
So full-time?
no, it wasn't full-time, but it was
No?
definitely a
A
good
lot.
20 hours a
Mhm.
week
Okay.
of each of those. I mean, driving, because you
Sure.
don't know.
You don't know where you're
I've
going.
driven all over Sacramento now, so I definitely
Yep.
know things better, but you just don't know. And you're like,
Mhm.
where's this road go? And then you're like, oh,
Uh-huh.
there's a shopping center. I'm going to pull into
Yep.
it, look around.
And for those of you that are listening back at home, I mean, it may sound crazy and you may think there has to be a better way to do that, but you have to remember how fragmented our industry is, right? If this was a very sophisticated industry that's very not antiquated and old school as it is, then you could do it. And, you can use software and once again, Google Maps and different things like that. And you can do those things as a starting point. But if that's all you do, because that's the most efficient way to do it, then man, are you leaving a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of opportunities out there. I'm curious, do you think and this is probably a hard question to ask, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you think if you had done it from home, just using Google, would you have found this location still?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
don't think so.
I mean,
I think this one is being here at the right time because she was going to retire and
Okay.
Craig came in and talked to her. Craig is very honest, saying, I'm looking at purchasing a laundry center. And she jumped at it. She's like, oh, if you're interested, I'm thinking of selling. So I think we're just
Wow. Nice.
at the right place at the right time for this. It went really quickly.
yeah, I would have my input on this would be, many times I've walked in a store, talked to the owner, and they start saying, well, would you be interested in purchasing my laundry?
Hmm.
And there's
Mhm.
many discussions I've had like that because
No,
people are, this is not a simple business to run. It's not going to
it's
be
not.
a go collect coins. It just
Yeah.
doesn't
Mhm.
work like that.
Whether you already have a laundromat or are looking to get into the laundry industry, everyone needs proper drainage. We use HM Company drain troughs. Their drain troughs were first created in 1991, and they have been the leading drain trough manufacturer ever since. They're made in the USA, and their drain troughs are fully customizable to meet your needs. That's why we've used them ever since entering the industry. They're easy to clean for our staff and plenty sturdy when we need to walk on them when servicing our washers. With the ability to span up to 25 feet, our troughs rarely need to be connected together, creating an easy installation. Want to slope your trough like we do? No problem. Just let the experts at HM Company know. For more information, go to their website at draintroughs.com. That is draintroughs.com. HM Company Drain Troughs. They've been leading the industry since 1991. Check them out today.
Michelle, what was it you said before we even hit recording?
Well, with what?
This is not
This-
passive.
Passive business.
Passive. It is not
It's like
passive.
the running joke in the industry with anybody that actually knows what they're talking about. This
Well,
is not a passive business.
well, we were looking for passive income.
Yeah.
During COVID, we're looking for passive income, not even gonna lie.
Yep.
And then we got the key and we're here 7 days a week. Then we were arguing. And then we went to I remember going to your workshop and then talking to Carla. I'm like, I've got a question.
Yep.
How do you guys do this?
Uh-huh.
And that was my first question to her. How do you guys do this? We're fighting all the time.
How do you work with your spouse?
We were just
I have to put up with a lot, you guys.
Yeah.
Has it gotten better since we talked? Because I think one of the biggest keys is you have your own roles. Like you have your own things that you're the champion of, and we discuss each other's stuff. But at the end of the day, like if it's something to deal with, the bookkeeping and the money at the end of the day, if I say, no, we just can't afford that right now, then that's it. Or if it's something with operations, because he's more in operations. And if he says, we really need to do it this way, I'll give him my opinion. But at the end of the day, he has, final call. And I think that was my advice to you is kind of having those clearly defined roles and different areas that you're the champion of. Has that helped?
yes.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. I
Mhm.
was there. We were at breakfast, I
breakfast.
think. And Carla, more than once in the last year, that play has happened. There was a thing with maintenance and where to send the cargo van. I'm the guy that does all the maintenance. And Michelle was trying to say, well, you should do this. I'm like, no, decision made. You can influence, but no, this one's no.
This is my issue.
The same thing with operations.
Operations.
I've sometimes stepped in there too far, and it's just like, I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
You're not living it every
Yeah.
moment. She's
Yeah.
living it.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. There's an authority thing too. You've got a bunch of attendants looking to her
Uh-huh.
for direction.
Mhm.
I come in and say, "Oh, do it this way,"
Mhm.
and who's in charge? And
Yep.
that's not fair at all.
Yep. You completely usurp her. Yep. That's exactly right. All right. So we've gone through the process of due diligence and different things like that. How difficult was that process for you? You had to negotiate a new lease. You had to arrange financing, or maybe not. What are the things that walk through the process? But once you found the location leading up to closing, let's try to give people a really clear lens of what that process looked like, at least for you. They're all
Yeah.
unique and different, but what it looked like for you.
I would say on the lease side, it was an assumption of an existing lease. I did attempt to
Okay.
work the landlord to change things to extend the lease. They refused to do anything with regard to that. So I think it's pretty, or at least my experiences with certain landlords is they have a lease in place. They know they've got a stable thing and they're not going to change it because that was the
Mhm.
agreement that was made. So if you're assuming a lease, just assume you're going to get that minimally. Maybe they'll be nice and do something more. It's always worth asking. On the finance side, it was really actually, I remember with Dave, or look at the store, I designed the store and packed every square foot with
Mm,
the machine. I mean, there was no room for anything except washers and dryers. And so that was a piece of coming to Dave and saying, Dave, this is my design. And Dave was like, Craig, there's nowhere to even fold clothes.
yeah.
So in there, there's a whole concept of designing the store, but the number of machines that goes into the store directly impacts financing and then
Mhm.
how much funds you have for building out the store. So that process was fairly simple. I mean, there's an application process you go with whoever you're going to get financing with, and you get approved. And then basically, a lot of times they'll say, well, this is the cost of machines. They'll loan you above that if you want to do other things like put in laundry equipment, like folding tables and
Mhm.
all the ancillary things like the vending machines, the change machines. We have an ATM in our store. All of that stuff can get wrapped up into a loan, and that goes into an overall package. When you put together what's the design of the store, what are going to be your items in that store.
Wonderful. How was the process of working? Who did you work with for financing? Do
Well,
you want to share that?
oh yeah, I just went through Dexter Financial,
Okay.
and Matt out there is amazing. He's one of my financial advisors at this point. I'll turn to him and say, "This is what's happening.
Gotcha.
What do you think?" And they want us to win just as much as we want,
Sure.
and that is a good, solid relationship we have with the whole Dexter family. Quite
Mhm.
Yeah.
honestly,
And obviously you're working with a Dexter distributor, you're using Dexter equipment, you're using Dexter Pay, even if I remember right,
that's correct.
as your payment system. And that's not the only way to be successful, but that is one way to be successful. And he's exactly right. When you work with the direct lender with a particular manufacturer, they are absolutely your partner. Why? Because if you're not successful, you're not going to pay your bills and they want to get paid, right? So they want to give you, they will be happy to give you all the advice and mentorship that they can to make sure you're successful. And I actually tell coaching, I don't remember if we have discussed this, Craig, but I tell coaching clients all the time that even if you have the cash to acquire something, I tell them to go ahead and finance it anyways, just because you're forced to go through the process of all the things that the lenders do. And I tell them after 3 or 6 months of closing on the loan, you want to just pay a little bit interest and then pay everything off if you don't have a prepayment penalty, because it can actually be very dangerous to just have the cash to write checks. I mean, it can be, even if you have an independent coach like me on your side, I'm not perfect. We miss little details. And every person, every check and balance that you have in place that's looking over your lease, looking over your paperwork, looking over your due diligence, the acquisition process, all these different things. It just, I always say in business ownership, we can't eliminate risk, but we can minimize it, right? And every set of eyes and ears that knows the industry that can look at your product or your package through that lens that's experienced in the industry, they're going to have a little bit different perspective on it. I'm sure we talked about that.
So you talked about layout of your store, but you were getting an existing store. So what kind of shape was the store you were getting in? Was this a full gut retool? Obviously, it wasn't turnkey because you're talking about a complete new layout. What kind of shape was it in? What were you getting?
We had two massive rows of top loaders. Those all came out, and we left the infrastructure in place because that's expensive to move. So we built a new equipment around the infrastructure, and that dictated that we'd have two aisles aisles straight to the back. We decided to
Up the
move.
back, though. We opened this area to the
We
back
absolutely
area.
did. We're sitting in the back area right now, which we affectionately call the attendance office. But Michelle and I's desk's back here, and we work back in this attendance office also. But we have a roll-up door, and we can see the entire laundry from this location. So before, the previous owner had a little closet that was up front that you would hovel down in the closet.
And watch the camera.
Yeah, and watch the camera. And be afraid if something bad's going to happen. But that was the previous owner. We're such an open, friendly store. Everybody comes through the front door, we say hello to and welcome into the store and help them. But the whole redesign was a big part of it. And Dave, you were instrumental. You even were talking about the ability for people to walk in the aisles and be able to pass each other with two carts. And that's pretty key because, it's awkward sort of stuff. And the doors coming out from the washing machines, that impacts that space also. There's quite a bit that goes into store layout and design.
Yeah, it's rather nuanced. I always say the meat and potatoes, 80, 90% of it isn't rocket science. Anybody can slap that together in a fairly short period of time. And unfortunately, a lot of laundromats are built that way and there's no more thought that goes into them. But man, that nuance to really spend a lot of time measuring every inch and taking everything into account and how it affects your team, how it affects you, how it affects your cleaners, how it affects your repair people, and of course, how it affects your customers. That's the difference in getting it 80 to 85% right and getting it 95 or 100% right. And you guys definitely hit a slam dunk there.
Is there any equipment that you kept at all?
The heater, the water heater.
Oh, the water heater and the furnace on
Okay.
the roof and the big water heater tank.
Yep.
But none of the laundry equipment?
No, all of it. It was old.
Is your laundromat ready to become the neighborhood's #1 choice? LaundroBoost has proven strategies to help your business flourish.
I think we saw changes pretty quick before that 4-month range. I'm in that 4-month range now, and we're seeing changes left and right. I mean, pickup and delivery clients, drop-off clients, self-service clients, businesses up as a whole.
Literally, it was shocking to watch the numbers jump. I wish I could go back and I could begin to track these things, which I have done, to see what percentage growth we had, but it wasn't unusual to go up 30% per month.
At LaundroBoost, we specialize in fueling laundromat growth. Through targeted Google ads and powerful social media campaigns, we make your location stand out and attract loyal customers. Ready to level up your laundromat? Visit laundroboostmarketing.com and book a call with us for a free consultation.
They were renovating Monday through Thursday. And then
I remember that.
And then everybody came in deep clean Thursday, and then we opened Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then it cycles goes again. And I swear it took twice as long to finish.
One piece of advice.
Yep.
Don't worry about losing your customers. Just shut it down and have a 2-month window to retool and be done with it. We tried to open every weekend.
Yeah.
And it was, no, never again will I do that.
I remember discussing that. There's really 3 ways to do it for those of you that are listening. One of them is what he just described, shutting it down, knocking it out in a short period of time and being done with it and accepting the ramifications of that. One of them is kind of half and half, which is what Craig decided to do. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then the last option that you have is obviously staying open. All 4, let's see, not our superstore, but all 4 of our other locations, we completely retooled without ever closing for an hour.
We do like half the store at a time.
Yeah. Well, half the machines will be available, or today we don't have hot water, but tomorrow we will. And it worked. We were really desperate. We were really pitch and petty. So, we couldn't afford to lose a single customer. This is back in the day. Those are really, people ask that question all the time. And there isn't a right or wrong answer. Some of it depends on your pocketbook. Some of it depends on your strategy. Sometimes it even depends on your distributor and contractor. Some of them are like, nope, I won't do a project this size around customers. Most of our projects early on were what I call stair-stepped approach. We never did a total remodel like yours until our 4th store. So we did small little packages here and there.
We couldn't afford a full
Couldn't afford it.
retool.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We had to do little pieces.
We were out with the homeless people collecting empty beer cans and turning them in for recycling. No, I'm kidding.
How many square feet is your laundromat?
Was it
19.
20. I don't remember the exact number.
I think it's right at 2,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right around 2,000, which is decent size for in the city of Sacramento, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I consider it like it's a medium-sized laundry.
Yeah.
Did it have any drop-off services or delivery services, or was it just self-serve?
It did have drop-off.
Very little.
I would say very, very little.
Very
We acquired 2 commercial accounts when we took over the store. They survived. The third one they talked about didn't show up for months, and then they came in. So I guess you could say we got 3 commercial accounts. Very, very little drop-off service. Nothing like what we're doing now.
What about staffing? Did you inherit any staff with it that you kept?
We still have, and this goes to Dave, conversation with Dave. We were told this person would be perfect to be your manager of the store. So me being the smart guy, hired the person on 40 hours a week. And
thinking she could help us because to help, we're brand new. She's been in here for a while, thinking that she can help us kind of do little steps.
So my background's all IT, 30 years of IT. Everything to me is put in the computer system. We're going to be more regimented and easier to run operation, everything. I put down the computer system. We use curbside in our shop. Put down curbside. And she goes, I hate computers. Can't we just paper and pencil? And I looked at her like, yeah, and it just didn't work out.
It was
hard. That was probably the prime employee that came aboard. So we have one employee that was with the previous owner and with the previous 3 owners who has stayed with us. She's now just like on the weekends, 4 hours a week, basically. Yeah. But everybody else, we went through, over the last year and 8 months, I just hired my 49th employee into the store, and we have 13 on staff. 14. So we crank through staff, and the reason for that has a lot to do with their ability to operate in this environment into the levels that we demand, and that Michelle demands. It's a big piece of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think one of the biggest thing I got from your workshop was fast to fire but slow to hire. So there are some attendants that I fight myself on with that too. I keep want to give them chances and stuff, but most of them we try to do that.
Yeah. So I want to back up for a minute, and then I want to get into all the good stuff. We're almost there. All the branding and all the amazing new equipment and everything else that you did. Okay, so you acquired the store. So what was the process like as you over the next week or two? Did you have your plan already mapped out and go right into swinging hammers and removing washers, or did you operate the store for a while that way?
Not at all. And that was another, what I consider a rookie mistake, because I burnt through at least a month just figuring out how to operate the store. During that month, we worked on our HR and payroll systems, got the business up running, started paying employees. So I'm burning through that payroll for that entire month, and you're still working with shoddy old equipment. So if anything, we should have just shut down the very January 11th, in the retool. So it was basically at least a month before any hammer swung.
Okay. And was that month smooth? What was that month like for you? Let's paint a picture for the people out there that are someday going to buy a laundromat and retool it.
We had this, who was it? DiCaprio was doing a movie in Sacramento.
Oh my God.
And it's just getting released right now. And they come in and they said, we need somebody to do laundry service for Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wash, dry, fold.
And we're like,
no, they're like, can you do it? And we're like, yeah, because it's new business. Yeah, we couldn't do it. Number one, we had no POS system.
No.
We're still on paper and pen. We were setting up Venmo accounts for them.
We created a Venmo.
Venmo account. Our laundry was still bagged in trash bags because apparently that was how it was done. It was a disaster. So I don't blame them. They went somewhere else.
Yeah, they did.
But that's okay because it's a learning experience.
And Dave, I don't have one of your cups here, but it's something like better the next day or something.
Better tomorrow than
yesterday.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, we are 100% better now than we were then. But in those days, every day we were like stair stepping up, including getting flat bottom beds for the wash, dry, fold to go in, figuring out how to package that just right. And your workshops helped a lot with that whole process.
Yeah.
I think Madonna was before or after.
Yeah, Madonna came through.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But we were literally, they were using garbage bags to put the wash, dry, fold in. And
very common. Very common. Yep. Not a very good presence, but very common, unfortunately. So you ran the laundromat for a month and then retooled it? Is that the story?
That's
Retooled it. How long did the retool take with only retooling Monday through Thursday and open every weekend?
easily 3 months. The retool was completely done by June 1st. It was probably a couple weeks before that. But, there were still odds in it, like the folding tables needed to come in afterward. So I would say
I think we didn't start retooling until almost like a month and a half to 2 months later.
there was so much going on during that time, just dealing with understanding how to operate.
Yeah, we thought that if we keep it open, we can learn how the laundromat business works first, and then we'll retool it. But that's in hindsight. In hindsight, I think we could have just closed everything and then start from scratch. At the second month is when we tried putting curbside in with the old system. So that was harder too because the machines were not numbered and we're still trying to figure out what's going on. So what we learned the first months from all the old machines really didn't help us. Because we're not opening up top loaders, we're not starting, stuff. So I think in hindsight, it would have been so much better for us and our sanity had we just closed down and then did everything and then relearn it as we gone.
Yeah.
I remember when you all came to our workshop, this was during the retool or whatever. You were just starting the retool. And it was a struggle too. Like all the stuff you wanted to do, you're like, but our store isn't there yet. Like even the marketing, you were like, but do we want to market it how it is right now when it's about to change? And like, it was almost like you were in this weird holding pattern of everything had to wait until you were the laundromat you were going to be, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
During that time of the retool, we worked on branding. We worked with a local artist to develop our logo mark and our actual logo. And we have a slogan. It's so clean, it's scary. Out of that came our branding book that says exactly what colors. And then that kind of dictated how we set up the color scheme of the store. And Michelle is really instrumental in that process, along with myself. Although I kind of step more back because I'm not as artsy.
Yeah, me neither. We need to stay in our lanes, right, Craig?
Do you feel like branding has made an impact? Do you feel like, because I think that's something that a lot of laundromats overlook. Like so many laundromats are named,
Coin
South
Laundry.
Street Coin Laundry, like their address is basically their name and you stick Coin Laundry or laundromat on it. What kind of feedback do y'all get from the branding? What have you noticed?
I think it's memorable. From the perspective of the store owner and the marketer, I want Monster Laundry to be in front of people's faces as much as possible. So they remember it's all over our bags. It's on the receipts that go out to everybody.
But also our colors. I think our color scheme is very striking. So we have a lot of customers says, hey, I saw your van going. I didn't even need to see the logo to know that that's your van. So I think we did pretty well with the branding and the colors.
I don't know. I'm partial. I think we did excellent. If you look at our Monster Laundry cargo van, it has all the things needed. We took a long time before we designed that. And it was actually, Dave, you were the one I said, should I be doing the van yet? And you said, get on it. That's a walking billboard. It's driving all over the city. So that was a big deal.
Yeah, your branding alone is playing the long game.
Yes.
It's a lot of people don't realize, they see or do branding and they don't see the immediate value of it, but it's over decades, right? It's over years and years and decades that branding becomes powerful. Because of course, when we created it, it doesn't exist. Nobody knows what it is. It doesn't mean anything. But in a matter of a year, people are already starting to recognize it as they drive down the road.
I think it adds to a sense of professionalism that you're taking that time and that investment into creating a brand for your services. You're not just ABC Laundromat or whatever.
Well, I talk about this all the time in the commodity based, which is kind of the old school way of thinking of running a laundromat, which is, you own a laundromat, Craig, I own a laundromat. You have a 60-pound washer. I have a 60-pound washer. They're the same thing. And I always say, no, they're not. They're not the same thing, right? They're different washers, different controls, but much more important than the washers is the experience, right? The people, the operations, the SOPs, the redundancies, all the things that we've, spent several years with you guys building. Those are reflected in your brand, or your brand is reflecting those things. And if you want to be thought of as professional and modernized, then your brand should reflect that. If you want to be thought of as a commodity, then call yourself Coin Laundry, right? And that's just the honest truth. That's just basic psychology. It's not rocket science. I will say, though, for the people that argue against it, I mean, it is hard to quantify the value of spending tens of thousands of dollars building branding, right? I mean, where's your ROI in that? You know what I mean? Like I said, that's a long-term investment.
I want to talk about, so we've kind of hit a little bit on this already, some of the failures, the things that you wish you would have done differently. Can we talk about successes and failures? So I know you all came into this industry new. What, looking back on your journey over this past almost 2 years, what have you done that you would like to share that you felt like were successful things that you did, whether it be in designing your store and learning about the industry and growing your customer base, whatever? What are your successes that you would tout?
And you may have different ones. You're two
Mhm.
different people. You may have two different things.
For me, it's asking questions, not being afraid to ask questions, because there's so many experts that's in this field and they're so willing to share your expertise, like you and the both of you. I mean, I just think we're so grateful that you guys are here and Craig found you guys, because you guys allow us to be where we are. You guys set us up for success and then allow us to be, take the next step and be innovative and stuff like that. But one thing I think, Carla, you and I we talked about at the very beginning is how to separate when you're working together, like to have each our
It's
own lane.
our
and stuff.
roles. We mentioned
Mhm.
Michelle's COO, I'm CEO. I have distinct things that are part of my role, and she has distinct things that are part of hers. And so that's helped to keep us sane. Also, we reserve Saturday. Try not to do anything laundry related on Saturday. So we get one
Nice.
day off a week. If I was thinking about what are the successes I'd point to, there have been so many over the last year and 8 months. And every day we get better and better and better. Let's look at, I can look to Michelle and see the successes in her operations. They're just completely tremendous. We implemented an SOP book. It's like this thick now, and it talks to every single action that the attendants need to do. Michelle and I are not here every single hour, so we need to rely on our attendants to do what's the right method. And so that SOP book is for a process they fall back on. That's just a completely tremendous success, and it ensures consistency. The techniques and methods that were taught at the workshop out in Cincinnati at Queen City Laundry. Dave, we've taken a lot of your ideas and implemented them right in here, like spin the drum, and you got to look in sure there's nothing in there. And then chain of custody. You start it, you better be finishing it.
Yep.
And even around HR and operations, we're running a small team here, quarterly staff meetings. We didn't used to do that. We're starting to build out our leadership team. We have leads in the attendant area, in the cargo van area, and we also have someone coming up kind of in the financial area, the admin area. So those are our leads that we have. And building the small team over this last year and eight months has been, all of that's been a success. We get about one new customer a day.
Nice.
That's adding up.
That is not insignificant.
And it's a slow, steady process. One thing, I'm the guy that wants it now. I want it to be, I want to be a winner immediately, but this process has not been a winner immediately. It's a slow climb, especially when you talk about pickup and delivery, and acquiring those customers is difficult. In the sense that they need to let them know about it. Hey, this is the thing. Hey, why don't we just come out to your house and pick it up? You don't have to come in here and drop it off. Michelle, you've done so much upselling in that territory. There are just, you just shake a stick. There are tons of successes. Our security surveillance system is better. We had people on the roof, which was crazy. And so now we know immediately if somebody's up there. These are all the mechanics that, keeping this site running. All tremendous success.
Yeah, I do. I remember you having waking up at 5 in the morning to get on a call with Dave.
Oh yeah.
Because you're so stressed and just like, I want this right now, and it's not doing this right now. I remember those calls.
Well, I could tell you guys that when I look back at our journey, and obviously you had a bunch of advantages that we didn't have, but man, when you're describing the things that you've put in place and the organizational structure that you have, not to mention, I always say this business breaks down into two categories: the facilities and the operations. And most people don't get the facilities right, but of the ones that do get the facilities right, most of them think that that's the
You're done.
golden goose, right? You build a nice facility and then it just runs itself. It's passive income, and you don't need redundancies and SOPs. And there are experts in our industry that are out there producing videos that say things like you don't need an employee handbook, and HR isn't a real thing. It's a small business. And, and I just absolutely shake my head every time I see these things. And I just think, I hope nobody's listening to that, because that is just absolutely asinine. Right.
Yeah.
And I guess ultimately what I'd say is I'm just proud of you guys, because this is a capital intensive business, right? Like building the facility alone is a huge investment. Building the facilities and the operations simultaneously, which is what you've been doing for a couple of years now, is not easy to do. But even if this is the only location you ever own forever and ever, amen. I mean, you have put the legwork in to have success for the next several decades. And I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to see the fruits of that labor. I know you already are seeing the fruits of that labor, but that's powerful stuff. And I know sometimes the revenues don't come as quick as you want, but I won't put you on the spot, but I know your revenues are significantly up from where they were when you bought the store.
Yeah. We've increased revenue by 3 times.
Nice. 300%.
So,
wow.
and that's in the high months, and it varied, obviously.
Yeah. That's wow.
Yeah,
Very
and
sweet.
that's really good. We're running a full crew though, so a lot of the
Yep.
expenses are around the headcount,
Mhm.
and California labor is not necessarily cheap.
Not cheap.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely. Wow.
Would you like to make more money from your laundromat? Would you like those machines you're paying for to have more turns per day? Do you offer wash, dry, fold services or pickup and delivery laundry services? If not, would you like to? Whether you do or not, we have an amazing opportunity for you in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, you've probably heard about it, guys, but it's our wash, dry, fold, pickup and delivery workshop. And to answer your first question, yes, it is for drop-off laundry, wash, dry, fold, and pickup and delivery. So if you're doing any of those things, this workshop is going to help you tremendously. But the truth is, we were pretty so-so laundromat owners and so-so successful until we launched drop-off laundry and pickup and delivery. And being able to, what I call, optimize your laundromat to generate more profit and more revenue out of the existing facility, that's the key to taking your life from good to great, financially speaking, with laundromats. And that's what made us Laundromat Millionaires.
You don't have to just listen to us. Listen to what some of our past attendees have to say about our Wash, Dry, Fold Pickup and Delivery Workshop in Cincinnati, Ohio.
It was the best workshop I've attended in over 25 years. And what you guys have put together is nothing short of phenomenal. I think that you guys have put together both strategic and tactical systems that will make an individual who wants to own the laundromat profitable within months, not years.
Was the workshop worth the investment? Without a doubt, it was definitely worth the investment. So not only did we have 2 very packed days with Dave and Carla and their team, both in the classroom and touring the facilities, but we also came away with this extensive 100-page handbook. And then after the workshop was completed, I received a bunch of electronic performers and templates that we've been able to use since the workshop. Every day since the workshop, I've found myself referring back to either those electronic tools or the handbook that I received. So,
was it worth the investment? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I cannot say that enough. This was such a blessing, and I am so very grateful that Dave and Carla put this together and are sharing their knowledge and experience with others to have this to grow their business and to become more successful. Thank you, guys.
So are you interested? Go to laundromatmillionaire.com to learn more and see where you can register.
So I know having a full service laundry center was always the plan for you from day one. You had learned that maybe through, different content you saw out there. You understood the difference in just running a laundromat and running a full service laundry center. What were the decisions around why you decided to do that? And you've dropped several times about attending our workshop and things like that. A lot of people, I'm just going to say it, a lot of people would think you guys are absolutely crazy for paying what you paid and flying across the country and attending a workshop and things like that. The time that is necessary to do that, not just the workshop specifically, but what made you want to do laundry pickup and delivery? And at least at this point, I know it's still a ramp up process for you, but man, 300% isn't anything to shake a stick at. What made you make those decisions, and are you happy that you made them?
I think from the very beginning, we wanted this laundry center to be the Nordstrom of all laundry centers. So When I go to Nordstrom, I can get everything there. Everything is taken care of with great customer service. So I think that's what we bring here to Monster Laundry. You can do everything. You can do self-serve. You can do drop-off. If you're too lazy, we'll just go pick up your stuff. We have alterations. We have dry cleanings. Everything is in one spot. And I think a lot of our customers says that is just so easy. They just give us everything, and everything comes back nice and washed and neat and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the start, it was the idea would be we would be a full service laundry, which would include pickup and delivery. Strategically, the pickup and delivery arm has real no boundary except the extent of where you can send your trucks. So that was a piece of it. That'd be a piece of the revenue stream, along with the self-service being. I love the idea that somebody pays a quarter and you're getting paid right when they put that quarter into the actual machine. So that was always a part of our plan. And overall, I mean, we talk about those pieces which are more technical, but the mission of our laundry is to help people. It is to help the residents and the business owners of Sacramento in whatever way we can when it comes to laundry. And that's something that we always start. Well, I typically start our staff meetings saying, hey, remember, this is why we're here. And it's a little bit of a mission that's bigger, and we can say that, hey, we're here helping, whether it's somebody coming just in the front door. I mean, we've helped people from all over the world at this point. A lot of folks that travel, they'll come to our laundry we get a lot of international customers, and we're having a real impact on the community.
Yeah. Wow. And imagine the impact that was being left behind on the community when it was run the way it was run before. Not to pick on the previous owner, but I mean, there's a pretty big dichotomy here between how you run the business and how they run the business. Not to mention how well you're going to serve this community over the next few decades.
Well, let's
just
talk
on a
about
day-to-day
another.
basis.
I want to talk about one more win.
What's that?
This is a big one. When we started this place and we opened up, there was not one child in our laundry. Not one. You wouldn't see them. There would be no families in here. It was mostly men and some people that were pretty darn rough.
Yeah.
Fast forward, we have consistently families coming in here. Kids, they'll be on their little, devices. We'll get them onto the Wi-Fi. That is an outstanding win.
Well, I remember when you took over the space, it had quite a homeless population. Do you think that was part of it? Is the moms and dads that had the kids really weren't comfortable bringing them? I mean, I'm sure it didn't help.
Have you done anything else to kind of target families? Do you have a children's area, or done any type of activity things, give out coloring sheets, anything like that? Or is it just that the increased cleanliness and safety?
I think it's a cleanliness and safety.
I think we have a kids area.
We didn't have have a constrained space. So it was
sure.
We could put it right next to the bathroom, but then that didn't seem like the right place to put a kids area. In any case, it's a great idea. Coloring sheets and stuff for kids.
We
when
can
they
do
come
coloring
in.
sheets. I give out stickers.
At our smallest store does not have room for a kids area. And so our attendants have coloring sheets and crayons that kids can use while they're there. Suckers, they give them suckers. But it's the only thing is definitely take up the crayons afterwards. Don't leave them just out because they will color on your walls.
Yeah, or into the dryer.
Yes, that too.
We've never had to go this far, but I've known people that I don't know if you've ever went to the skating rink or whatever, and you check out and you rent shoes, and they tell you to leave your ID. We've actually had people, not us, but I know other laundromat owners that are in rougher areas, and they'll have toys that they can check out, books that they can check out, and they just have to bring a parent's ID, and they'll put their ID in that slot. And when they bring the book, you can do that with coloring books. Coloring sheets isn't necessary, but there was a time where we would give them big Tupperware containers full of pretty much all the different 64 colors or crayons. So I mean, we had 3 or 4 of them sitting back there. There was a time where we just handed them 3 or 4 crayons, and they were very limited by what they could color with that. So we've tested a lot of different things, but those are things that you can do in smaller spaces where you really can't afford to accommodate a dedicated kids play area for sure. There's always some things that you can do just to let them know that they're welcome. And obviously it goes without saying, but we want those customers to come in because they have more laundry, right?
Yes.
We appreciate the single ones, but we like the families too.
They always congregate to the larger machines.
Yep.
You're always in that general area. But we did initially have a homeless population. This is an area of Sacramento that does have homeless, but the word's gotten out that you're not going to hang out at our location. There's a new sheriff in town.
Like me.
Her name is Michelle.
That's right.
Not like me at all.
I love it.
We don't allow non-socially acceptable behavior in the laundry or the entire laundry center.
Yep.
If somebody's going off the rails, we ask them to we gently ask them to leave, and if they don't, then we escalate and we follow through.
We're fortunate too, because our two neighbors, we all work together.
Yeah, and
That
we
makes a big difference.
but sometimes people are just not in the right mind space, and there's not much you can do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What have you done with your restrooms? I know that's a challenge in areas where there is a large homeless population. Do you keep them locked? Like, what do you do there?
What is the key word we say?
It's for customers.
No,
it's for
no.
washing
Are you a
customers.
washing
yeah,
customer?
Mhm. I already know where that's going.
Yeah, they have to either have to pay for the machine first, or they have to start their load before they can use the bathroom. So
Why can't they just be a drying customer? Why do you say washing?
because if they can't just bring their dirty clothes and just put it in our dryer because it stinks up our dryer, and now our customers don't want to use it.
Yeah, they'll just we've
Would-
had that we've had that happen.
I'm
They'll just-
saying that specifically because I remember that getting brought up on one of our members' Q&As about homeless people just wanting to dry their dirty clothes. And I'm like, that's a thing. People want to just come in and dry their clothes, but what, they're like out in the rain or something and just want to dry them?
or, the
Or is
heat,
it
or
because
the
they're
air
cheaper?
conditioning,
Because you
or-
can start it with a quarter? Like,
No,
It
it's
could-
it's wet. They're in the rain and they get caught in sprinklers or whatever, and they just want to dry it. But it's
yeah.
up the whole dryer. And I tell my attendants, you guys better watch out, because if you guys don't watch it and they dry it and it's your shift, then you're responsible for cleaning that dryer, not me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had people do all kinds of crazy things. We've had people put in one of our stores that has a homeless problem. We've had them put completely dry winter jackets in there, put a quarter in it, but not hit start. So if you don't hit start, the timer doesn't count, and they'll wait until the attendant notices that they haven't hit start, and then they'll just, my goodness, sorry about that. I thought I hit start. And the whole thing is to sit inside. Maybe they're trying to warm up in the winter, or they're trying to cool down in the summer, or maybe it is raining out there, or frankly, maybe they just want a comfortable place to sit for a while, or they want to watch TV. The Bengals game is on TV. Like, there's a million different reasons that they play these games. You
So
have
they
to kind of
appear to
train
be
your
a
staff.
customer,
Yeah, yeah.
but they're loitering.
Yeah. Or if you make them be a washing customer, I mean, they're the cheapest washer in the store is $4, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So do you keep them locked and they have to get a key from you then? Okay.
We have a keypad, so our attendants will open it for them.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And we don't even, nowhere in our store will say bathroom is for customers, or we don't even state that. It's a bathroom. So
Yeah.
we took them out.
Our
Took us out.
bathroom, it's not
Not labeled.
labeled.
Gotcha.
And that the bathroom is probably the largest conflict in the store. The second largest is drying without washing. Those, whenever we talk to attendants, we bring them on board. We always hear these are the warning things. You gotta not allow it. If they allow them to go into the bathroom without washing, then a lot of times crazy stuff happens in the bathroom. And then the worst thing is the next attendant that comes along, that same individual will come back, say, well, so-and-so let me go in. Why won't you? And then it's a bigger conflict for the next attendant.
Yep.
That consistency. That's why I have all those SOPs.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Wow. Well, once again, guys, we are so proud of how far you've come. I know the journey's not over; it's just beginning. But
What's next?
Before we let you go today, yeah, what is next for you guys? And feel free to share. You know, this will be out there in the internet forever, so don't share anything you don't want all of us to know. But what's next
Sure.
for you guys?
We definitely intend to purchase store number 2, 3, 4, and keep growing the Monster brand. It needs to be done at the right time, and we've been exploring and looking at different stores. Yeah, it'll be here in the Sacramento region, and we'll keep growing. We're at 15 people right now. I'm
14,
guessing as
14,
we
15.
grow more and
It's a
more.
lot of staff for a 2,000 square foot store.
It's a part-time, a lot of
Yeah.
part-time.
We're all
We have
part-time.
Yeah.
The drivers out there also.
But our attendants run 4-hour shifts because of
Mhm.
California stuff, rules and stuff.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We're starting to get our first full-time employee after a year and 8 months, considering that first employee we hired. Yeah, we learned kind of from that.
Yep. Got to give them some time to prove themselves.
Where else are we going, Michelle? Well, we partnered with Dyna Robotics. So
Yeah.
7 of our commercial clients are being folded through that system. I would expect over the next year that they can do pants, they can do shirts, they can do socks. as that grows, and we actually have one of their staff members here 5 days a week, I expect that more of the laundry will just be simply processed through theirs, that system. I have visions of where we do something with self-service that would maybe be a concept of just holistically, you're part of the self-service crowd, and you get brand loyalty with them through sort of an offer there. But the equipment doesn't seem to be in the actual computer systems don't necessarily lend to that just yet.
Not yet.
Been exploring that one. Trying to push the boundaries of where do we take the next steps in laundry and how do you implement it in production. There's a lot that goes into that. We're still a coin store. We may end up walking away from that eventually, but every 2 weeks I love collecting the coins.
Dexter Pay though, right?
Yeah. Dexter Pay, is that credit card or loyalty card? I'm not really familiar with them.
It does have a loyalty segment to it. The customer downloads an app, and they can either use Apple Pay or Google Pay to start it, or they can associate a credit card within the app. And we get about, I'd say, 15 to 20% of the vends of the equipment go through that system. The rest is all cash.
And Dexter Pay tracks the cash too, though, right?
It does. So that's a nice, from the revenue standpoint, how do you keep track of revenue? It's amazing. You just dump it into, it's a spreadsheet CSV file. And then you can import all of those sales directly into QuickBooks, and that goes into your profit side of the profit and loss statement.
Yeah.
One thing I like about Dexter Pay is it alerts them when their stuff is done. They automatically set a timer for them.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've looked at, that was a decision made a long time ago, and it was a decision made out of too many decisions. And but let's just go with that system and see how it works out. There are other key vendors out there that Michelle and I are exploring and going to probably build a relationship with one of them moving forward.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we're excited to see where you go next.
Yes, we are for sure. Yeah. So before we let you guys go, anything else you wanted to add to the episode today? Is there anything that we haven't covered or missed? Or if not, where can people find you? How can people reach you all?
Yeah, you can just email support@monsterlaundry.com. It'll come to both of us. And I mean, if you just want to talk for a half hour with us, we're pretty open to having conversations. We're at monsterlaundry.com, the website, everything is there. We're getting a new page put up here in about a day or so, all on the robotic folding system. We actually have been interviewed by a lot of the local newscasters over the last week. That has been an incredible sort of experience with not just the exposure of Monster Laundry to the local area, but just the way that they framed the amazing things we're doing here.
Yeah.
And just having a professional newscaster do that is just, I'm really, really grateful for that over the last week. But how else can they reach us?
Are y'all on social media or anything like that?
Well, Instagram,
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We've got to build that out a bit. But yeah, we're working on our social media presence in a bigger way. Along with, we have our Google business profile. That's real solid.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Great to hear. Well, man, as I tell all of our guests, it's not lost on me that, you guys are busy and you have better things to do with your time than to come on here and chat with us. But we appreciate you sharing your story. I know you watched a lot of the podcasts before you got in the industry. Hopefully some of those helped you. And as we talked about offline, hopefully your podcast will help the next layer that's out there in the industry. And you guys are still pretty early on, just a couple years in. God willing, maybe in 4 or 5 years, we'll bring you back on and we'll see what you guys are up to. And you'll have 10 or 20 stores by then. Who knows? No pressure. No pressure. Craig just stressed out.
That's okay. You'll have the team. Your team will do it, and it will finally be that passive business.
There you go.
Because eventually you can get there. So
yeah, we'll just be on a beach in Hawaii.
There you go.
Click a button, it just happens. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks guys for giving us your time today and for being here. We really appreciate it. For everybody back home, thanks for joining us today for another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show, sponsored by HM Company at DrainTroughs.com. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.